Hello, everyone. A very good afternoon to everyone. My name is Rashi, and I come bearing some questions for all of you. How many times have you heard these statements? Oh, he doesn't need to work. He's married to a very wealthy woman. Or he doesn't want to work. He is focusing on raising his children. Or the boys or men in our family do not work. I bet you can count on your fingers the number of times you have heard these, because there's a high chance that you haven't heard these at all. Now let's reverse the narrative. How many times have you guys heard the below? Oh, she doesn't need to work. She's married to a very wealthy guy. Or she doesn't want to work. She's focusing right now on raising her little kids. Or the girls or women in our family do not work. Last one is very popular in India, and it's the most problematic one, of course. It is said with this form of misplaced male authority. A study conducted by the International Labour Organization, or the ILO, in 2018 found that 606 million women of working age all over the world were out of employment because of unpaid care work. That is, they were caring for their families, their children, their husbands, etc., etc. While only 41 million men were outside of the workforce because of the same reasons. To put that in perspective, out of 16 such people, 15 were women, while only one was a man. Now let's go back 2 years. There was another study conducted in 2016, also by ILO, in collaboration with the Gallup Consulting Group. They surveyed men and women all across the globe, across wealth groups, and they asked them one simple question. Would you women or would you men prefer to have the women in your household work outside the home, care for the family, or do both? A staggering 70% of women and 66% of men said that they would prefer the woman to work outside the house. What the data is clearly telling us is that if given a choice, women would like to be engaged in gainful employment. Which brings us to the question, then why are these narratives so popular? She doesn't want to work, she doesn't have to work, she doesn't need to work. The truth is, work needs women as much as women need work. That's why these age old rhetorics of questioning the need of women to work are so problematic. Who decided that for women, especially, work has to be need based rather than choice or desire or ambition based? Of course, it was men in the patriarchal societies. There are multiple gender inequalities at the workplace between men and women, all of them stemming from this age old notion of patriarchy. Now, up until this point, where I was invited to be here and I spoke to my best friend, that is Google, I used to think that patriarchy just means the inheritance of wealth, the inheritance of power by the male members of the family. I was wrong. That's just a cause and effect phenomena. The real meaning of patriarchy is a system of relationships, values, and beliefs that are so embedded in our social system, economic system, cultural system that structure these gender inequalities. Uh, Attributes which are feminine or pertaining to women are undervalued, whereas the attributes which are pertaining to men are given much higher value and respect. To put it simply, the age old notion that men are somehow superior to women is what is actually meant by patriarchy. Like the speaker before me, very brilliant young girl, rightly said, patriarchy doesn't just harm women, it harms men as well. If you look at the workplace, patriarchy leads to gender based stereotypes. Men are taught to suppress their emotions, so they cannot really express their emotion at work. They definitely are a little cautious before showing some sort of empathy to their own co-workers, their own teammates. It has been proven time and again that women led teams and organizations are very successful. If you think about what makes a successful leader, you think of leadership skills, you think of that managerial aptitude. Men really only get to exercise these skills once they actually get these managerial titles at work. Women, on the other hand, they have been managing homes, families, their younger siblings. They have been managing domestic chores or people hired to do these chores for years before they assume managerial positions at work, if at all. There is a natural knack for organization, scheduling, procurement, recruitment, finances, people management, performance management, short term planning, long term planning. If these are not leadership skills, then what are? Has anyone in the audience watched this acclaimed TV show called Mad Men? Awesome. For those of you who haven't, this is a very, very popular TV show. It is based on the ad agency culture in the 1950s Manhattan. This show makes absolutely no attempts to disguise the fact that in those days, all the executive or decision making functions resided with men, while women were reduced to the front desk staff, the secretarial staff. Men were responsible for designing and creating every aspect of every campaign for every product on the market in those days, be it cigarettes, feminine hygiene products, or kitchen appliances. Even though a man these days, in those days, may have never even stepped foot inside the kitchen. Now think about how much the world of marketing itself has revolutionized over the years. These days, the single most impactful and most powerful platform of marketing is social media. It is estimated that close to 60% of the world's population uses social media. In countries like the US, 92% of marketers at companies larger than 100 employees use social media to market their brands or market their products, or do both. Just as the world of marketing, the platform of marketing has undergone a big change, so has the gender based influence in marketing. These days, the most popular form of marketing is influencer led marketing. When you think of the word influencer or content creator, think of think of 10 people. I'm pretty sure 9 out of 10 people you think of or even follow on your own social media accounts are women, not men. Women have proven to be so successful. They have already challenged the male dominance, the barriers of patriarchy in this field. Women have already proven to be so natural experts at all aspects of campaigns, such as starting from building their own target base, strategizing over what would be most relevant to their target base, going ahead proactively and partnering with these marketing agencies, these brands, and then, of course, all aspects of your content creation and aesthetics, which make a successful campaign. Now, think back to the 1950s era, where all of these functions were being done by men, and in the end, they would bring in a good looking female model just for the visual appeal. I am a working mother. I have 2 young daughters. I have close to 12 years of work experience in the management consulting domain. This also involves working for 5 years in the cutthroat world of finance on Wall Street in New York. Many organizations, even in countries like the US, are still not gender agnostic. That is, men and women are treated differently. If you are a woman in a male dominated work environment, there is a chance that you may have to face struggles such as being overlooked for a promotion, being skipped for a salary raise, being silenced in the boardroom by the male co-workers, or your points in a boardroom not being taken seriously enough. And God forbid, if you happen to deliver a child during your active working tenure, you will have to face the consequences of it for years to come. You will not be treated or not be perceived as contributing and as valuable as your male counterparts will. The unfortunate reality of wage gap very much exists. Women do not make rupee for a rupee or dollar for a dollar that the male counterparts with similar skill set, similar levels of expertise, and similar years of experience make. In our own lives, when we think of how we can outrightly challenge these norms of patriarchy, which have been going on for centuries and centuries, right? There are limitations as to how much of time and energy each one of us is willing to invest in this cause. However, what each one of us can do and absolutely should do is not to conform to them. We have to continue to believe in our own equality, our own voice, not to doubt our instincts, and realize that we are in a very unique position because we are at the harbinger of workplace change. It has taken me some time, some understanding to realize that I can actually challenge patriarchy in my own ways as well. As a mother of two daughters, I can raise them, and I am raising them, to challenge and question anything which makes them feel any lesser just because they are girls. Professionally speaking as well, I have the right to not conform. I have the right to uh, see when gender inequality is happening. I can acknowledge it, I can escalate it to all channels possible, and I can bring awareness to the situation. There is a chance I'll face obstacles, I may not be taken seriously, but I have to persevere in my own belief that being made to feel disempowered just because I'm a woman is not acceptable. I have chosen to be in a field of work that is male dominated, especially at the leadership levels. You look at any data science or analytics teams in any organization across any industry, and chances are you will find a disproportionate ratio of men to women. In many such teams and many such environments, there is a tendency to undervalue the contributions of women. There is a tendency to think that perhaps the women are not as quantitative in their thinking, not as analytical in their thinking. And this ultimately, these preconceived notions tend to basically make sure that they don't have as successful careers as their male counterparts do. In my own personal experience, it took me some time, it took me some clarity of thought to understand when I saw that the gender inequality was actually happening to me, especially after I became a working mother. Interestingly, in my case, this was happening, this was all coming from a female leader. She had very passive aggressive views on working mothers. Of course, I did next what I knew to do, right? I escalated my concerns to the HR staff. The HR in that particular company was made of old white men. You can imagine how that went. It took me some time to chart my course back to my own original field of work, which is what I went to college for, which is healthcare and pharmaceutical. And basically doing data sciences, deriving data-driven insights for healthcare clients. It is very, very common practice in professional interviews for women to hide the fact that they are mothers or that they're expecting to be mothers for fear of discrimination. When I decided to re-enter the workforce after this negative experience, I decided at the onset of that journey that I will be very upfront about this fact. And if somebody did not want to hire me for this, I didn't want to be there in the long run. I'm looking for a career, not a job. It's their loss, not mine. What I like most about the organization that I interviewed with, that I'm very proud to be a part of, 3 years and counting, is that when I brought up this heavy piece of information, they were not just accepting, but actually admiring of my position as a working mother of 2 kids under the age of 2. In the end, I have to say, we have to persevere. We ourselves have to understand and realize and propagate the fact that we as women in a male workspace, we should not take it as a weakness. We should take it as a strength. We bring so many unique qualities. We bring a natural flair for organization, for communication, team building skills, attention to detail, and so on and so forth. Till the time each one of us finds that spot at the workplace where we get equal respect, equal rights as men, we have to accept to not accept. Thank you.